Alrighty, Jeannie, let's make the most fantastical snack bars the world has ever tasted. Absolutely, but hold on to your hats, or in my case, my polka dotted pants.
Can I have my pajama pants back now?
Sure, but let me find a replacement pair first. This is a PJ-13 rated channel. No worries, you go on a magical adventure to find new pants, and I'll start the first extravaganza.
Welcome to my Looney kitchen.
Cream together 3/4 cup of butter that's at room temperature. We beat it around some just to fluff it up. 1/2 cup of sugar and 1/2 cup of brown sugar. You can use light or dark. This recipe is not that picky. Okay, I don't think I'll find the magical ones here. Oops, we forgot to prepare the pan. I always do that. Take a piece of parchment paper and line the bottom of a 9 by 13 inch pan. We snip the edges and let them hang over the sides. It's like a sling and makes it easier to get out of the pan to cut. If you cut it while it's in the pan, you can scratch your pan and dull your knife. Well, now this looks more like my style. Woo-wee! Look at all this color. And preheat your oven to,
350 degrees.
350. You don't say. How about that? Beat in 1/2 cup of dark corn syrup and 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. We spray the measuring cup first, and that gets out all the syrup as you pour it. No fuss. And 4 cups of quick oats. Stir that all in there and pour it into your pan. If you wet your fingers first, it doesn't stick to them when you press it in all even. It'll level out in the oven. We're just giving it a starting chance. And bake for 18 to 22 minutes, and the edges will turn a golden brown. Welcome to the Magical Trouser Emporium. How may I assist you? I need a pair of pants that screams adventure ready, but also snack making chic. Peruse our beautiful colors. These enchanted trousers will do the trick. They're perfect for both adventures and culinary shenanigans. Hey Jeannie, we need a can of sweetened condensed milk. Can you fetch one for us? Aye, condensed milk, here I come. Woohoo! Got it! While the crust cools, we're gonna add a layer of delicious ooey gooey caramel. You take 1 can of sweetened condensed milk and 1/2 cup of butter. You savvy folks might recognize this part from Millionaire Shortbread Cookies. 1 cup of light brown sugar and pack that cup. 1/4 cup of light corn syrup. A medium heat, bring this up to 225 degrees. That's when the magic happens. Keep the liquid moving. We change to a whisk to keep it stirring better. You don't want to give it a chance to singe on the bottom. Now pour it over the cool crust and spread it out. For the final layer, you want this all the way cooled down. You put it in the refrigerator and have a snow globe hot cocoa bomb while you wait. Okay, now take 8 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips and 2/3 cup of chunky peanut butter and melt them together. We're melting them over a pot of hot water to be gentle with the chocolate. This only takes like 5 minutes. Then pour it over your cold caramel filling and use an offset spatula to spread it around even. Now let everything set up for a couple of hours before cutting them into 2-inch bars.
Hey, I really like those pants.
It's my favorite color.
Purple's my favorite color too.
You can have our honey raisin bar for breakfast. This goes together real fast. Cream together a 1/4 cup of butter and 1/2 cup of sugar and 2 ounces of honey. Honey's good for you. A 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. In a separate bowl, sift together 1 1/2 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Then stir in 1 1/2 cups of crushed bran flakes or corn flakes. Alternate in your wet and dry in thirds. A third dry and half the milk. Stir in 1 cup of raisins. Oh shit, we forgot the egg. Oops. Well, we have to put it in. Yeah. Yep, might as well add it in now, but it should have been added in at the beginning. Pour this into a well-greased jelly roll pan and bake for 15 to 20 minutes. We like it crispy around the edges. Let it cool down and flip it out. Cut it into snack bars. A sprinkle of powdered stardust and a pinch of laughter. That'll show that it's homemade. These look absolutely magical, and my new pants feel adventure ready. Now who's ready for a taste of our enchanted snack bars? I'm ready to disco down. Leave a comment if you like Jeannie's new pants. We combine the creamy, tangy cheesecake filling with a nutty, crumbly crust. Our chilled treat is super easy to make and perfect for Loonies who crave a luscious cheesecake without turning on the oven. And we're going to show you how we used a silicone mold to get this wonderful shape. It's the same as a metal one.
What are you doing, Jessie? Welcome to my Looney kitchen, where touchless thermometers make great cat toys.
It's the red dot. I'm off to the land of mixed berries, where strawberries grow in the sky. And this is the way we get the cream cheese to room temperature. Place your bricks in a big bowl of warm tap water. Not too hot or you'll cook them. And in 10 minutes, they're ready. First, prepare your pan. We have this really neat looking mold.
This is going to be so cool, isn't it?
Yeah. Spray it down with just a little bit. You can use your fingers to get it in all the nooks and crannies. Whoa! This is the land of milk and honey. It's just a little further now. Take 1 1/2 cups of heavy cream and whisk it to stiff peaks. Almost. It's making trails behind the whisk. Look how it's mounding up. Yeah, that's it. I see mountain peaks in the bowl. Now, put this in another bowl and set it aside in the fridge while we make the rest of the filling. Yep, look how mushy they are. That's room temperature. And add in a 1/4 cup of sour cream. My favorite sandwich is cream cheese and jelly.
Cream cheese and jelly sandwiches. Yes, I used to make them all the time when I was a kid. And my mom would make them from homemade jelly. She graduated from Temple University with a degree in home economics. And so did my grandma. Back in 1927, you couldn't be married and be a teacher. You had to quit.
You want to beat this all together until it's nice and smooth. You never know if there is a cold lump somewhere that needs to be blended in with the rest. And add a tablespoon of lemon juice.
Let's make some lemonade later on.
Great idea! add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Hey, Jeannie, how you coming along? Hey, they're having the Midwest FurCon parade downtown. I bet they like the red dot. And oh, look, it's the Chicago Pride Parade. Now, sift in a half a cup 3 times. So that's a total of 1.5 cups. And beat it in after each addition. You sift it in to make sure you get no lumps in your batter. Our powdered sugar is always lumpy. It also makes your cheesecake silkier. See? Look how nice and smooth and silky it is. And gently fold in your whipped cream. You take from the bottom and bring it to the top. Turn the bolt and do the same from the bottom to the top. This keeps all the air in the whipped cream while adding it into the batter. Your cheesecake will be light and fluffy. Ah, the land of mixed berries, where every fruit is perfect and never grows old. These will be so great for our topping. But once you pick them and bring them into your kitchen, they start to grow old. We'll have to eat this cheesecake in a day or 2. I don't think that'll be a problem. Now pour it into your mold and try to lightly smash it into the nooks and grooves. We use an offset spatula to get it in the niche and smooth it out on the top. And place a cookie sheet underneath and drop it a few times. This'll help it work its way into all those niches. And put it in the fridge while we make the crust. It'll thicken up real fast.
Oops.
Pulverize a 1/3 cup of pecans. And I forget how many graham crackers.
10, 11, 12.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
12. Add a 1/4 cup of sugar. And half a cup of melted butter. We like to add it while it's running so it soaks evenly into all the crumbs. Pour it onto your cake and spread it around. Pat it down and spread it into the alcoves. This is the hardest part of the whole thing, I think. And it's not hard. The cookie sheet gets it perfectly flat. And place it right into the freezer. It's close enough to bedtime for us.
Good night, Jessie.
Good night.
Good night, Jeannie.
Night, night, Jessie. Good night, Jessie. Good night, Jeannie. Good night, Big Val.
Wakey, wakey.
The mixed berry compote topping is real fast, like 10 minutes fast. In your favorite saucepan, place a 1/4 cup of sugar and 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. Mix that all together. Add in about a 1/3 cup of blueberries, blackberries, and cubed strawberries. Mash them up a little. We like to use our avocado masher and cook them on medium heat while you stir them. The berries will break down and create their own syrup. Then mix it in a minute longer to make sure you cook out all that cornstarch taste. And let it chill in the fridge. Or you could melt your cheesecake. It thaws real fast and be ready by the time we serve it this afternoon. I'm so excited! Dip it in a bowl of hot tap water for 3 seconds to loosen the top. This is the same as if you're using a metal mold. And gradually work it off. It's so cool looking! We mix it with about a 1/2 cup each of the fresh berries and pour it on top to make a mountain of lushness. This is called a compote, by the way. Fancy word for a simple topping. Cheers!
Cheers. beautiful.
Hey, spares. Ahoy, Coconetta! Willifrida, the steampunk flavor fairy. You're just in time. I've gathered the freshest coconuts and pecans for our praline snack cake. Ready to create a taste explosion that'll dazzle the taste buds? You know I have a trick in this old hat to spice up the glaze too. We have a trick to get the cake out of the pan too. You make a sling out of aluminum foil. You can't use parchment paper because it could cause a fire in the last step. You'll see. And spray it down with baking spray with flour. Hey, did you remember to preheat the oven? Oh yeah, we should do that. Oops, 350 degrees. First, we'll make the filling and topping. You take 2/3 cup of unsalted butter and 2/3 cup of brown sugar and pack that in there. 2/3 cup of apricot preserves. Cream them together until they're nice and smooth. Everything should be at room temperature so they go together without any butter lumps. Add 1 cup of shredded coconut and 1 cup of chopped pecans. The finer they're chopped, the easier it'll be to cut the cake later. And scrape down the bowl to make sure everything stuck to the bottom gets mixed in. Then put that in another bowl and set it aside for a moment. Sift together 2 cups of flour, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, and you sift the flour to get out the lumps. Lumps in your batter could make you overmix it, and then it turns out tough like an old handbag. See? Add half a teaspoon of kosher salt and set this aside too. Now back at your mixing bowl, cream together half a cup of butter and 3/4 cup of sugar. And add in an egg and scrape down the bowl. Now we alternate in the dry with 3/4 cup of room temperature milk, 1/3 at a time. About 1/3 of the dry, mix it in. And 1/3 of the wet, mix it in. And make sure to look for treasures stuck to the bottom. Look how nice and smooth and creamy it is. Spread half the batter into the pan. Big Val here is using an offset spatula to get it nice and even. Then spoon about 1/3 of the topping and spread that over the whole thing. Go slowly, it takes a little finesse. And spread the rest of the batter on top. Hey, Coconetta, I'm gonna go get the magical glaze for on top. And bake for 35 to 40 minutes until a toothpick comes out clean. This blend smells divine already. The island breeze will carry its aroma for miles. When it's done, spread the remaining topping on top. It's still warm and delicate, so be gentle. And make sure you spread it all the way to the edges. Now place that under the broiler, 4 to 5 inches away from it, and let it get nice and caramelized. Bubbly, that is, only 1 to 2 minutes. Ha ha! Perfectly caramelized. Now for the piece de resistance. And we'll mix up this magical glaze now. Take 1 cup of powdered sugar and sift it if it's lumpy like ours. Whisk in 1-2 tablespoons of milk and half a teaspoon of almond extract or rum extract, or rum, or bourbon, Bailey's, Kahlua. Woohoo! Oh, Willifrida, that's simply enchanting. Our praline snack cake looks like art. A Rebel Flavor Fairy's touch, my dear. Now, shall we indulge in this delectable creation? The combination is paradise on a plate. A little rebellion in taste can indeed spark a delightful revolution. Until our next culinary escapade, Coconetta, leave a comment. It makes our day. Did you know the Queen of England enjoyed Marcus Waring's nutmeg custard tart on her 80th birthday? It's legendary in the United Kingdom. And gently work it into the flutes and crevices and corners. Careful there, Captain Bread Hook. That dough looks delicate.
I know, it's really thin and flat. What do you think it is?
Your mission, should you choose to accept, is to steal 2 fresh nutmegs from Christopher Columbus. He stole America, so 2 wrongs make a right in my book. That makes me a privateer! Oh, I'm so excited! This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Oops.
Earlier this morning, we made the crust. It has to take a nappy poo for 2 hours in the fridge. You take 225 grams of flour, weighed out.
Why, thank you, Willifrida. I've got a bigger scoop, okay?
And the zest of a lemon. Careful not to scratch off the white part because that's bitter. We'll make lemonade with the lemon later on. And with your fingers, rub in 150 grams of unsalted butter. You want to coat the butter with the flour and then squeeze it with your fingers. This helps prevent gluten from forming. Marcus Waring is a Michelin star chef. That's a prestigious and internationally recognized guide for culinary excellence. It originated in France in the early 20th century when the Michelin Tire Company began publishing restaurant guides to encourage more travel and therefore more tire sales. Rub it in until it looks something like Parmesan cheese. You know, the kind you put on spaghetti. Then add in your sugar and make a well in the middle. Mix in your egg and egg yolk. You want to mix it just until the dough comes together. Our dough is quite wet. I think those British chickens are smaller than American ones. You know, we like everything supersized. Wrap it in cling wrap and let it take its nappy poo in the fridge for 2 hours.
Oops.
Nutmeg poo. Oh. Now roll it out to about 1/8 of an inch thick. We give it a quarter turn every once in a while to help us roll it into a circle. This also helps us keep the mat floured.
Oh, this is sneaky. It's fragile, it's so thin. Let's try it this way.
Crumple up a piece of parchment paper that's big enough to hang over the sides and fill it with baking beans, or rice if you like, and bake for 15 minutes at 350 degrees. Then take out the beans and bake it for 10 minutes longer or until it turns a golden brown. Mission accomplished. We have nutmeg on hand. Fantastic. We're going to have a top-rated tart. Turn down your oven to 265 degrees now. Take 9 egg yolks, right, 9 of them. You can separate them with your shell or with your fingers. If they're fresh out of the fridge, they're easier to separate. And don't worry about all those whites. You can freeze them. 1 white equals 1 egg. You can see how we use them to make Italian meringue buttercream. Right there. Whisk in 75 grams of sugar and heat your cream to the steaming. How much is that? About 150, 160. And slowly pour it into your yolks. This is called tempering. It brings up the temperature of the yolks without making scrambled eggs. And just in case we did make scrambled eggs, we pass it through a fine mesh sieve into a big measuring cup. And this will come in handy and make your life easier in the next step. Put your shell in the oven and then pour in the filling. It'll pour right to the very tippy top. And sprinkle on your grated nutmeg. By the last of the nutmeg, we figured out that you could sift it to make it go on more evenly. And bake for 30 to 40 minutes. It'll have a slight wobble when it's done. What's that look like? This is the wobble at 30 minutes for ours. It'll vary for each tart and oven. There, it's ready. Here, you can see it better. It has a slight wobble in the center. It'll firm right up as it cools. Let it cool down on the counter for about 15 minutes, then move it to the fridge to chill the rest of the way. Now here's the part I don't like. Shave off the top edge of the crust like a blacksmith on a horse's hoof. That's too tedious for my liking.
It looks dreamy creamy. And the nutmeg is great. Leave a comment. It'll make our day. Now I know why my mom made these all the time. They're so easy. I think my mom must have made 1 million of them in her lifetime. There was always a Tupperware tub full. And yes, she taught us how to burp her Tupperware lids to close them right. And even my grandma made them. She graduated from Temple University with a degree in home economics right before the Great Depression. She married my grandpa in 1927 and had to quit her job as a teacher. Teachers weren't allowed to be married back then. Around 1937, Ruth Graves Wakefield invented her now famous Toll House Chocolate Crunch cookies. She and her husband owned the Toll House Inn, a popular restaurant in Massachusetts. Ruth was trying to make a chocolate dessert and ran out of baker's chocolate. She chopped up a bar of Nestle semi-sweet chocolate and added it to her cookie dough, expecting it to melt and make a chocolate dessert. However, the chocolate chunks held their shape and the result was a delightful combination of cookie dough and soft chocolate chunks. They were an instant hit at their restaurant. By the time my mom came into the picture, Ruth Wakefield allowed Nestle to print her recipe on the back of their semi-sweet chocolate bars in exchange for a lifetime supply of Nestle chocolate. Nestle's sales soared like 500% in like the first year of printing the recipe on the back of the bag. And now they're part of my family. Oh, look at my mom. She was a clown and puppeteer. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, huh? And there's my grandmother when she was a little girl. She was a phenomenal baker, perfecting and tweaking many recipes. I've already shared some with you in my other videos. The Toll House Inn was completely destroyed on New Year's Eve, 1984. A fire in an oven spread up the chimney stack and onto the roof. It was not rebuilt. But we have the cookies. So preheat your oven to 375 and let's start a tradition. 2 1/4 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of kosher salt, and whisk that all together and set it aside. And cream together a cup of butter, which is 2 sticks, 3/4 cup of sugar, and 3/4 cup of brown sugar. And pack that measuring cup. A teaspoon of vanilla extract. Cream them all together for about 4 minutes. If your butter wasn't at room temperature when you started, beat it a little longer until no chunks remain and it's smooth. Now add in 1 egg at a time. Fully mix it in and then add the next one. Now add in your dry ingredients a little bit at a time. I think the only way you could mess up this recipe is if you didn't measure something right, got distracted. I get distracted sometimes. Then fold in your morsels and 1 cup of nuts. My mom used pecans or walnuts. I'm switching to my scoop because that's what I've learned to use over the years. My mom could use tablespoons. Then bake for 9 to 11 minutes. When the edges start turning a golden brown, they're ready. Then let them rest on the pan and hang out for 2 minutes and put them on a cooling rack. Growing up, these were on hand like all the time. I even learned to trade them for store-bought snacks we never had in the house. 2 cookies got me a ding-dong, and 4 cookies were worth a Twinkie. I hope you had fun today. If you did, give it a like, thumbs up, leave a comment about Nestle Toll House cookies in your life, and I'll see you next time.
Ahoy, Captain Red Hook! I traded some rare flavor potions with Cupcake Savvy at the fairy convention last week, and I got this chocolate frosting recipe. It's quite the hit, with more views than stars in the night sky. Almost 6 million. Aye, Willifrida, my flavor fairy friend, and I have this huge jar of peanut butter. Let's use them to make our spicy Reese's peanut butter cake. Smashing idea, my loony friend. Fear not, dear Captain. I shall embark on a daring quest to secure this elusive candy. Decorations and all. Mini peanut butter cups and Reese's sticks await my discovery. I'll set the oven ablaze. And we'll get to making these peanut butter cake layers. We're doing the creaming method. But first, spray 3 pans with baking spray with flour and line them with parchment paper. Now, sift together all your dry ingredients. That's 3 cups of cake flour, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 1½ teaspoons of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and a teaspoon of allspice. Sifting, make sure you don't get flour lumps in your batter. See, right there. Then your wet ingredients. To 3/4 cup of milk, add 3/4 cup of oil, sour cream, and vanilla extract. Or an overflowing teaspoon like right there.
Preheat the oven.
Yes, ma'am. Remember this time, we set it ablaze to 350 degrees. In your stand mixer, cream together 1½ cups of creamy peanut butter and 1½ cups of sugar. Scrape the bowl often to make sure you get all that sticky peanut butter mixed in. Add in 3 eggs, 1 at a time, and scrape down the bowl after each addition. How you doing down there, Captain? I found the peanut butter cups. Now I'm off to get the sticks. Good job there. Now, the batter is a little stiff, so loosen it up by pouring in about a cup of the liquid. Then alternate in the rest in thirds. A third dry, then a third wet, a third dry, then a third wet. Scrape down the bowl one last time, just to make sure there's no peanut butter stuck to the bottom. And pour them into your pans evenly. We weigh them just to make sure the layers come out exactly even. And those are cake strips around the bottoms. It's just strips of fabric soaked in cold water, and you put them around the bottom. It changes the baking process, so you get flat tops every time. You don't have to mess with slicing off a dome or anything. And bake for 30 to 35 minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean. Captain, I've returned from my expedition. I've secured the peanut butter cups and Reese's sticks just in time. Airdropping them now. Watch out. Let them rest in the pans for 5 minutes and you'll see the edges pull away from the sides. Blast it, we're missing the Reese's Pieces to complete our masterpiece. Why don't I go get them while you make this splendid chocolate icing. Cream 2 1/4 cups of unsalted butter until it's nice and fluffy, about 10 minutes. And scrape down the bowl a lot because butter likes to hide on the bottom too. We want it fully fluffed together. See how it looks compared to a stick fresh out of the refrigerator? Now, add in 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. I know it's weird, but it works. If your milk's separated in the can, mix it around for a few moments before adding it in. There should be no lumps. And there you go. Just like magic, it comes together into buttercream. And it's not super sweet or grainy. Add in 1/2 cup of your favorite chocolate, melted and cooled to under 90 degrees. And that's it. Avast, Willifrida, I found peanut butter M&Ms instead of the Reese's Pieces. Lin ho! Oops. Miss me, ha ha! Huzzah, Captain! Your pirate prowess knows no bound. Let's finish this cake in style. Spread a thin layer of your frosting and pipe a dam around the edge. Then fill your pool with a layer of water ganache. That's just 170 grams of chopped up chocolate melted with a 1/4 cup of water. A few 30-second zaps in the microwave makes that magic happen. And repeat with your second layer. Notice how nice and flat our cake layers are. Makes it easier to stack. Put your last layer on top, and Big Val is piping it around the edge. It's easier to get an even layer of frosting that way. Then, with a bench scraper, we use long sweep to get that super flat, smooth side. For the last few swipes, heat up the scraper under hot water, dry it off, and it really smooths it out. Beautiful. Chill the cake for 15 minutes in the freezer while you make another batch of ganache. This is a nice thick drip, and the chilled cake will stop the drip from going all the way to the plate. We use a soup spoon to put a fancy twirl on the top. It's a lot easier than trying to get it perfectly smooth. The final touch for our Reese's cake. Place the candies where you best see fit. A triumph of flavors and teamwork. Our Reese's cake is ready to enchant taste buds far and wide. Aye, a culinary treasure worth celebrating. Here's to quests, discoveries, and the sweet taste of victory. Leave a comment. We love to read your comments. It makes our day. is frosting like a cloud. Our recipe is very light and fluffy without being too sweet. And we're flavoring this one with white chocolate, which can be quite finicky because of its fat content, and it likes to go in last.
Hey, have you seen Captain Bread Hook?
Your car warranty expired.
Welcome to my Looney kitchen.
We're all out of white chocolate. I think Marina knows where there's 4 ounces. I'll go ask her. We'll go ahead and get started. This is Aquaman's first movie. Isn't he a doll? Oh, I overheard the white chocolate grows in the scary North Sea. We're using frozen egg whites left from when we made a bunch of custard dishes. Yeah, each cube is the same as an egg. Big Val just took them out of the freezer last night to slowly thaw them. There, you see them right here in the mixing bowl. We'll just put it over hot water to help them thaw the rest of the way. You really can't go any faster or you'll cook them. To the North Sea!
What happened to Jamaica, Key West, Bermuda?
I don't know. Aye, you scallywags, we can do it! We have white chocolate to fetch. You can torch the bowl if your frozen whites are looking like a Slurpee. Now, this is Italian meringue, so you have to whisk them until they're nice and foamy. Oh, and don't forget a teaspoon of cream of tartar to whisk that in too. While that's whisking away on medium speed, in your favorite saucepan, add 1.5 cups of sugar. I wonder if I should have told him about the giant sea octopus monster with the big head and bloodshot eye. They'll be fine. 1/2 cup of corn syrup. Sometimes you can coat the measuring cup with cooking spray to make the syrup pour out better.
I was afraid that wouldn't go good in the frosting.
Yeah, I think you're right on that point. You can't have any fat in the egg whites at all. And add in 2/3 cup of water and heat this to 248 degrees. It's real thick at first, but then it loosens right up and boils all over. Look, it's like the North Sea with waves all a-rolling. He says we're on the right track. Brr, it's cold up here.
I signed up for the Disney cruise.
Now here's the only tricky part. Drizzle in a steady stream of the sugar mixture into the foamy whites. You want to get it going into the groove the whisk is making. See that little trough? The little valley? If it hits the metal side, it'll turn solid. And if it hits your whisk, you'll get shards of sugar in your whites. And there's the major cause of lumps. And look how much it plumped up. Don't worry, it'll deflate later. Now, whisk to stiff peaks. It takes about 10 minutes. And it'll help it cool down too. See, the hot sugar syrup just cooked the egg whites, so everything is safe to eat. We like to put it in a bowl of ice water to cool it down faster. See those colored ones? They're meltless ice cubes. These always come in handy. And let it cool to the same temperature as your butter. 65 to 70 degrees is where the magic is. Eureka! We found it! Now let's get our 4 ounces and get back! Avast! I think I know a shortcut! What's this? Is that a gold ticket? Did we win? Chocolate! Whew, just in time! Righto! While you're waiting for your meringue to cool, Oh yeah, this is called a meringue in the bowl, cooling on ice. You can get your white chocolate started melting. Break it up and place it over the hot water you just used. You want to gently melt it because its fat content makes it quite finicky. Don't be putting it in the microwave. That's so harsh, it could split the fat right out. And then you get greasy white chocolate. The meringue is cool enough. You just take a chunk of your butter and chuck it in. Let it whisk all the way in before you throw in the next. A chunk is about 2 tablespoons. And we found that cutting them up ahead of time warms up any cold spots in the middle of the bar. If your butter is too cold, your buttercream will start to look like curdled cottage cheese. Watch this 60-second video for the fix.
And celebrate that last chunk.
Now add in your melted chocolate.
I had to warm it back up. It got cold.
Really?
Yeah, I just put it over the pan of water for a few minutes.
I think we need some vanilla extract.
Let's taste it. Yep, I think you're right.
Add a teaspoon.
You're a genius. This is great. Perfect. Let's put it on those frozen chocolate cake layers we have.
Great idea! We froze those 2 months ago when we were developing our recipe for chocolate cake. Yes, you can freeze cake layers too. All you have to do is let them cool and wrap them twice in plastic wrap. They'll stay fresh and soft when they come to room temperature. Done deal! Aye, Frida, you've got a knack for mixing enchantment into our culinary escapades. This buttercream be smoother than the calm seas at sunrise. It's like spreading joy and sweetness over this chocolate treasure we've got right here. Thank ye, Captain Breadhook. Your pirate prowess in the galley be matching the precision of a fairy's wand. The chocolate cake layer be so lucky to be adorned with such a velvety embrace. I think we have some strawberries in the fridge.
We do, and we have strawberry jam.
Let's use it for a filling between the layers.
Yeah, great idea.
Chop those up. Pipe a dam around the edge. Fill in your pool of strawberries and jam. I think we used 3 tablespoons of jam. You don't need a lot. Too much and it can ooze through the dam too easily. Then you have a weepy cake. Then put the other layer on top, upside down, and frost it. We didn't switch to the paddle attachment and beat out all the air bubbles, so there's no way we could get those smooth sides and razor edge top. So Big Val here is spreading the frosting and making it decorative and piping on a braided top edge. This is our second dam. And fill it right up. Now it really looks great. Arr, Frida, me hearty, 'tis true. The melding of our culinary skills be like the perfect storm, wild and powerful, yet yielding a bountiful treasure. This buttercream be the secret weapon in our flavor arsenal. And what a delightful weapon it is, Captain Breadhook. The swirls and twirls of it be like an edible masterpiece. I reckon even the toughest scallywag would surrender to the allure of our chocolate cake with this heavenly topping and frosting. Can you talk like a pirate? Leave a pirate talk kind of compliment. It's Talk Like a Pirate Day every day here in Val's Looney Kitchen. Hey Maria, I love your new hairdo. Aquaman is coming here to do his new movie.
I bet he'll like our lemon raspberry tiramisu.
He would love that. There's some great raspberries at Raspberry Reef. I'll go get them. And I just got some lemons from Lemonade Waterfalls.
Welcome to my Looney kitchen.
We'll go ahead and get started. Okie dokie. Beat together 24 ounces of mascarpone cheese, a half a cup of sugar, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Beat this on high speed until it's nice and smooth. In a pinch, you can use cream cheese instead of mascarpone cheese, but the hoity-toity taste buds can tell. And scrape down the bowl just to make sure everything is getting fully mixed in. Things like to hide and stick to the bottom. Then grate the zest of 4 lemons straight into the bowl. Be careful not to go all the way down to the white part, because that's bitter. And all the flavor is in the yellow part.
Oops.
Hey, what are you doing down there? Practicing for when Aquaman comes. Oh, brother, get the raspberries, please. Okay, party pooper. I'll go get 'em. To half a cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice, add 0.3 ounces of unflavored gelatin. And beat this right on in. We add 6 drops, of yellow food coloring to help it look more lemony. Remember, we eat with our eyes first. I got them. I put them on the counter over there. Now we're going to make some whipped cream. We could have made it in the first mixer bowl in the beginning and poured it into another bowl so we could have used just one mixer bowl. I forgot to do that. Add in a 1/4 cup of sugar and whisk this to soft peaks. Nope, that's soft serve ice cream. Nope, not yet, just a little longer. There, it's a soft curve in the bowl. Fold the whipped cream into the mascarpone mixture. Take about 1/3 and fold that in to loosen it all up. And fold in the rest. See how Big Val is scooping to the bottom and bringing it and folding it in? That helps keep in all the air that we whisked in earlier. It only takes like 5 minutes of folding. Here's the easy way to make raspberry syrup. Take 11 ounces of raspberry preserves and half a cup of water. You'll see how we use this in a minute. We put it all together in layers. Spread some syrup on the bottom and place half the lady fingers in the dish. We don't make our own lady fingers. They're a pain in the ass. Oh no, sister. They're like $3 in the store. Pipe in a 1/2-inch layer of the creamy goodness and spread it smooth. Then a thin layer of the syrup and fresh raspberries for scrumptious texture. The rest of the lady fingers and the rest of the creamy goodness. Chill this in the fridge for at least 3 hours. More flavor will come out if you chill it overnight. But the lady fingers will get soft from soaking up all the syrup. You should have nearly half the raspberry syrup left. Right before we serve this to Aquaman, we'll drizzle his piece with it. Leave a comment. We love to read your comments. It makes Marina do cannonballs.
Yeah.
Woohoo! I got the treasured cocoa powder, Frida. Here you go, Captain Bread Hook. Grab a hold. Just in time, Captain Bread Hook. To your flour, add 2/3 cup of cocoa powder and the rest of your dry ingredients. What about preheating the oven? Oh yeah, Frida Flavor Fairy, we always forget that. 350 degrees. Add 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of espresso powder. You won't taste it. It'll just enhance the chocolate flavor. It's magic. And 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt and your sugar.
What about the pans?
Oops. Spray 2 9-inch pans with baking spray with flour and line the bottoms with parchment paper.
And what about that magic sour cream?
I have a map. I'll go get it. This looks like a booby trap. Uh-oh! Run! Ah! All that for 1 cup. Add 1/2 cup of vegetable oil and 2 eggs and 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Whisk it all together so everything is nice and smooth and even. And back at your mixer bowl, make sure your dry ingredients are fully spread all around the bowl. Then add in about half the sour cream mixture. Mix it around, then the rest. I know, this cake goes together weird. Trust us on this, it's moist. There be a load of dry ingredients hiding on the bottom, so scrape your bowl and bring them to the top. Then slowly pour in 1/2 cup of hot coffee. You won't taste the coffee at all. What it does is it blooms the powdered chocolate and gives it an even more richer flavor. And give your bowl one final scrape and pour it into your 2 pans. Divide it evenly. We weigh them just to be exact. Those are cake strips on the bottom. They change the baking process so you get flat tops every time. And bake for 35 to 40 minutes until a toothpick comes out clean. Look at how they're baking. Kinda cool, huh? The strips slow down the outside. It looks kinda funky, huh? There it is with 7 minutes left. But there's your flat top in the end. Whoa! This is how we frost a 2-layer cake. Put a little dab of frosting on the serving plate to keep the bottom layer from sliding all over. Center your first layer and glop a bunch more frosting on top of it. Spread it around evenly on top and let the extra hang over. Place the second one on top and make sure it's level. Press it down slightly and do the same again. Glop almost all of it on top and spread it out. We leave a little reserve in the bowl for patching light spots you'll find as you frost it all. Later on, add some swirls and be decorative. It's your homemade cake from scratch. Scratch is always better. You got that right, Captain Breadhook. It's always an adventure baking with you. You too, Frida. You're the best flavor fairy in the world. Leave a comment. It makes our day. Oh, I can't wait for my cousin Willa Frida to arrive. She's a city flavor fairy. Making our famous eggnog tart together is the best holiday tradition. Well, 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 look who's ready for some rebellious flavor magic. Cousin Frida, I hope you're prepared for some serious flavor fireworks. Well, Frida, it's so good to see you. I've set up everything for our eggnog tart. And, what's that sparkling golden egg in your hand? Oh, just a little something borrowed from the Flavor Fairy Vault. It's rumored to add an extra touch of magic to our tart. Wilfrida, you know we're supposed to use our own magic, not take from the vault. But where's the fun in that? Besides, I heard eggnog tarts are better with a splash of extra magic. We've got to get that egg back before anyone notices. Well, all right. But first, in your food processor, pulverize 18 cinnamon graham crackers and half a cup of brown sugar and spice that puppy up. Half a teaspoon of ginger, half a teaspoon of mace, and a quarter teaspoon of cloves. Half a teaspoon of kosher salt, and we're gonna booze up this tart in a little bit. Yep, look, it's looking like wet sand. It's ready.
Hey, you party animals, did you preheat the oven to 375?
Oh yeah, oops, you should do that. We get the crust even by gradually working it up the sides. See that little edge thing sticking out of the measuring cup? We use that as a guide to get the walls nice and even. Slowly and evenly. We like it thick. We need to get that egg back soon, Wilfrida. Rum, bourbon, whiskey. Rum is my favorite. What's a holiday without a little extra spirit, right? Trust me, it'll be legendary. And bake for 10 to 12 minutes. Your kitchen will start to smell oh so festive. Wilfrida, we really have got to get that egg back now.
Is everything all right, my little loonies? You seem a tad frustrated.
Oh, just thinking up the next holiday treat to bake. This is my cousin Wilfrida. We're just excited about making baking plans. Shh. Now for the filling. We're gonna make the eggnog right in the filling from scratch. Take 4 egg yolks and 3 egg whites. Separate them outside the bowl because we're whisking these whites into a meringue in a moment. It won't whip up if there's any yolk in there. Daggone it, look. One just burst right there. We can't use it at all. Now pour half a cup of sugar into the whites and half a cup of sugar into the yolks. In your favorite saucepan, heat up a half a cup of milk and half a teaspoon of kosher salt and heat these to the steaming, which is when bubbles start forming around the outer edge. And it steams. Whisk those yolks and sugar until they're a light yellow. Now slowly drizzle in the hot milk into the yolks. This is called tempering. It's where you bring up the yolk temperature gently so you don't make scrambled eggs. And pour it back into the pan and stir it until it's nice and thick, which is around 160 degrees. That will pasteurize the eggs too. Hey, we should get the gelatin bloom in about now. Right. Pour in a tablespoon of unflavored gelatin into a quarter cup of water and get those little beady thingies soaking up the water. It's thick enough to coat the back of a spoon. Set this aside to cool on the counter. This is a custard that we just made. Don't put it in the fridge to cool or anything, or the gel will turn solid. But do whisk 1 cup of heavy cream to stiff peaks. It's ready when you see mountain peaks in there. And put that in the fridge. The only thing left to make is the meringue. Put your bowl of egg whites and sugar over a pan of boiling water. We're heating these up gently too, to 160 degrees. They look a little like snot at first, but as they heat up and the sugar dissolves, they loosen up and whisk constantly. And keep it moving. There, it's ready. And take it off the heat and whisk these to stiff peaks. Not ready. That's soft peaks. There, I see mountains with peaks. Now we fold the meringue into the custard mixture. They should have cooled down a lot by now. From the bottom up. And bring it from the bottom onto the top. Add in 1 teaspoon of mace too, or nutmeg if you don't have mace. Mace is the outer part that goes over the nutmeg. It's got more pizzazz. Fold it up and turn. Keeps the air bubbles from deflating. Let's put that rum in there now. Let's put in extra rum for a ho ho ho.
She's quite the party animal, huh?
You know it. 4 tablespoons of rum, or 2 tablespoons of rum extract, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I don't know why I'm whispering. Fold it all in there. Willifrida, we have got to sneak that egg back soon. All right, we'll go in a minute. Sprinkle some nutmeg on top for a splash of fun. It's beautiful. See? Extra magic does wonders. Pipe some whipped cream around the edge. It's incredible. The flavors are so rich. And wait, is that a hint of extra magic? Guilty as charged. Holidays are for breaking the rules a little, right? We can't keep the egg here. It's too risky, Willa. Agreed. We need to return it to the vault discreetly. How do we do that without being caught? You have that flying machine, you know. Yes! Let's do an airdrop. This is scary. How exciting! Mission accomplished. No one will ever know we borrowed it. Thank you, Willifrida. You really are something else. Leave a comment. We love to read your comments. It makes our day. Banoffee pie is the British invention with a toffee caramel layer on top of crumbled crust and topped with bananas and chantilly cream. I snatched the recipe from YouTube channel Black Cat Kitchen. Start the plane! Start the plane!
But Daniela and Chris are our friends. They gave it to us when we met up in London last week.
Oh. And they put the recipe in the description just like we do, silly.
You start with the crust.
What's this whole digestive biscuit thing about? Like, is it good for the colon or something?
I know. Let's text them and find out.
Do 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 do.
Oh, we can use graham crackers instead.
Cool, we have those in our pantry. And she smashes them to pieces with a bag instead of a food processor. That was fun, do it again. And I'm off to fetch the bananas.
And when you're done launching your Looney, make sure you have all your air out of your bag.
Then take 2.5 ounces of chocolate and 5 1/4 tablespoons of butter and melt them together over a double boiler. Also known as a bain-marie, as it's known in the UK.
Willifrida, can you go fix the sign?
You bet.
I wonder who did that.
That's not how you spell P anyway. And we're using Daniela's top tip. Pour your hot water into a mug with your can of sweetened condensed milk. It'll pour right out by the time we need it. Mix in your crumbs and mold it into your pan. I think we need the rest of the stick of melted butter. We used 18 full sheets of graham crackers. We like a thick crust because it'll make the toffee caramel layer thicker too. and slowly work it up the sides and press it down for a good bottom. Just you wait, you'll see this ooey gooey caramel layer in a minute. And pop this into the fridge to firm up for 15 minutes. Now go on, go get it. You can do it, Charles. Yes, Mummy. Ahoy there, Captain Breadhook. Do you mind explaining why your ship is so rudely occupying my banana lagoon? Yarr! Banana lagoon? What in the seven seas are you blabbering about, King Charles? You just ran my ship without a by your leave. I demand my taxes on bananas, and I demand it now. We made our own dark brown sugar by adding in some molasses to our light brown sugar. That's all brown sugar is anyway. And half a cup of unsalted butter. Melt this all together on medium heat.
Well, look at that. Comes right out.
And look, your warm can pours right in. Stir constantly. And when it starts to bubble, stir for 3 minutes longer. Look, you can see it thickening up and coming together in a lovely caramel. Caramel's my favorite. Now, stir in a teaspoon of vanilla and a dash of kosher salt. Vanilla always likes to go in last or it gets cranky. And I've seen cranky vanilla. It's not tasty. And pour it into your crust and chill for an hour. Taxes on bananas! Since when do pirates pay taxes? And don't forget those 13 feisty colonies won the American Revolution. And we contributed big money to fix Westminster Abbey after World War II. It's on the floor in the ladies' chapel. You do have a point. The way I see it, you owe us. Did you ever think of that? I got the bananas, and a fan of money, and the city key to London. Now, let's whip up that cream and put this pie together. To 2 cups of heavy cream, sift in 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. Why is our powdered sugar always lumpy? I don't know. How come we all have the same cold? And add in a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. The cream of tartar keeps the cream from wilting. And whisk this to stiff peaks. We'll let Daniela and Julia Childs whisk it by hand. Yeah, that's why God invented KitchenAid. Not yet. We have soft serve ice cream here. Oh, wouldn't that be good with this? I see it mounting up behind the whisk. Yup, I see mountain peaks in the bowl. Chop up your banana coins and put them on top of this ooey gooey toffee. I love toffee. Pipe on the whipped cream. You know, the Brits give it a fancy name. They call it chantilly cream. And sprinkle some chocolate shavings on top. And there you have it. Hey, Willifreda, let's go explore the city of London. I have the city key. Yeah, Big Val is just having a good old time there, huh? You would think she melted and went to heaven. That toffee is good. Let's go find another British recipe. Yeah. Ahoy, Captain Breadhook. Today we be making a special treat. A banana butterscotch pie with butterscotch ganache drizzled on top. Ah, that sounds like an excellent idea. Let's get to it, me hearty. Oh, Captain Breadhook, I just remembered. We need magical bananas that grow on the gigglewood trees. Aye, that sounds like a grand quest. Off you go, while I get started on the pie preparations.
Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Welcome to my Looney kitchen.
Separate 3 eggs and whisk the yolks all together. I'll show you what to do with these in a little bit. Now for the special crumbly crust. Nilla cookies are fabulous with bananas. You take a whole box, the whole thing, and pulverize them into crumbs. Add in a 1/4 cup of brown sugar and 1/2 cup of melted butter. When that soaks in, spread it all around your pan. Whew. If you don't have a Looney in your kitchen, try a measuring cup. Go slowly and evenly to get the bottom flat and the walls even. Hey, Coconutta, how are things faring down for you on yonder? Oh! We like to use this kind of pan with a removable bottom. It makes the pieces easier to cut. Plus, see all those little tiny holes? They make the crust nice and crunchy. And we're tapering our walls this time, just for something different, and then bake for 10 minutes.
Or you can put it in the freezer for 20 minutes for a no-bake version.
We like the crunchy baked crust.
Right.
Do you know where Guffaw Grove is?
Absolutely. So first, you want to swing through Banana Boulevard until you see the giant Pineapple Junction. Take a left turn there and follow the Nutty Nut Lane. Let's hurry it up. Yeah, be careful of the ticklish tumbleweed crossing. Those things can be mischievous. Once you pass that, you'll be right in the heart of Guffaw Grove.
Ticklish Tumbleweed, Banana Boulevard, Giant Pineapple Junction. Thanks a bunch, my friend. I appreciate your help. Let's get to making this butterscotch filling. In your favorite heavy bottom saucepan, whisk together 3/4 cup of light brown sugar, 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. You know, 4 tablespoons is also a 1/4 cup. I be knowing things. Whisk in 2 cups of milk. You do it this way so the cornstarch doesn't lump up on you. Daggone it, I forgot the kosher salt in the beginning. But we caught it in time, so we can get it in there all right. And heat this on medium heat to the steaming. And that'd be about 120 degrees at the lowest. This is called a roux, by the way. I be knowing things. Then temper your roux into the yolks. Slowly drizzle it into the yolks to bring their temperature up without making scrambled eggs. Now we have a custard of a sort. As for the 3 whites, you can make meringue kisses or meringue cookies and flavor them with banana extract. Keep the liquid moving. In about 10 minutes, it'll get nice and thick. And it happens real fast at the end, so be ready for it. Don't let it scorch the corners. Heat this to 160 degrees to make sure we pasteurize those eggs. And cook it 1 minute longer. When it's ready, it'll start leaving a distinct path behind the spatula. And it'll be all thick and everything. Pour it back into your bowl, add your butter and add your vanilla. And let it cool to room temperature. We use meltless ice cubes to hurry it along because we have the attention span of 5-year-olds. Yo ho ho! It's a pie life for me! Wow! Whoa! They look psychedelic or magical! I found the right spot! And look at these! They're huge! I'm on my way, Captain Bread Hook! I got them! You won't believe how magical they are! Perfect timing to start the butterscotch ganache! Oh, I love ganache! And it's so perfect for this pie! Heat up a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. We just zap it in the microwave for 45 seconds. Add in 11 ounces of butterscotch chips and stir it up. All you have to do is let it sit for 5 minutes and give it a stir every so often. It melts right together. And zap it for 30 seconds longer after 5 minutes if you need to. Pour nearly half on the bottom of the crust. Careful there, Captain. Don't want to end up with butterscotch everywhere. It'd be a tricky task. There we go. Then a layer of banana coins and a layer of this delicious butterscotch roux filling. And another layer of banana coins and another layer of this butterscotch filling. And top it off with more butterscotch ganache. Save some of the ganache to drizzle later on. And another layer of banana coins. Bottom of the crust. Just jump in there and drown in heaven. Don't do that. And another layer of banana coins. Now let it set up in the refrigerator for the overnight. This is a perfect make-ahead dessert. One piece as it's served. It's all to your liking. Kitchen of whipped cream. Leave a comment. Whisk these to stiff peaks. Don't whisk too warm up your reserve ganache and drizzle it over the whole mountain, or just one piece as it's served. It's all too. And aye, Captain, with a pinch of magic and a scoop of adventure, we shall uncover the secrets of this enchanted toasted meringue top pie. So preheat your oven to 350 degrees.
Hey, Captain Breadhook, do you suppose you have some malt chocolate in that chest?
Aye, but it be in another chest on a faraway island. And I know just where it is. I memorized it.
Welcome to my Looney kitchen.
What do we do, huh? This means another adventure. Great, we'll get started on the crust. Take 40 chocolate sandwich cookies, filling and all, and pulverize them. Add in half a cup of melted butter and mix it all the way in to soak into the crumbs. Pour it into your pan with a removable bottom, or you can use a regular pie plate if you like. We're getting fancy with this tart pan. The holes around it make for a crispy and more evenly baked crust. Slowly and gradually spread it to the sides and work it up the sides. This recipe is for a 9-inch pan. Hey, Captain, how you coming with the malt chocolate? Aye, Frida, the island be guarded by a purple monster. I'll distract it with my meringue super soaker. I think it's friendly. Eureka! The malt chocolate is ours! Hey, it says right here, it supports immune health. That means we can have it for breakfast. And bake for 10 to 12 minutes. Separate 6 eggs. Put the yolks in a bowl and the whites in your mixer bowl. You'll see why we're using the metal bowl in a minute. We separate them outside the bowl because you can't get any yolk mixed in with your whites. One little speck and you have to chuck the whole thing. And the shells are great for the garden. In another bowl, whisk together a 1/3 cup of cornstarch and a 1/2 cup of milk. Cornstarch likes to clump up, and this is one of the ways to mix it in without getting the clumps. Whisk it into your yolks and set this bowl aside for a moment. And in your favorite saucepan, heat up 2 cups of heavy cream and 1 cup of sugar. Put it on medium heat and heat it until
160 degrees.
160 degrees! And important thing is to keep it moving around. You don't want the cream to scorch on the corners. Drizzle it in slowly to the yolk mixture. Thoroughly mix it and pour it back into the saucepan. This is called tempering, where you slowly bring up the temperature of the yolks without making scrambled eggs. We switch to the spatula and keep it moving. You want to heat it slowly until it gets nice and thick. This is going to take less than 10 minutes. There you go. Push it through the fine mesh sieve. You'll catch any scrambled eggs you might have made. Yep, we made some right there. This is also going to give it a silkier texture. Stir in 4 ounces of dark chocolate and 2/3 cup of malt chocolate powder mix. Hey, Captain Bread Hook, I wonder if we could use those malt chocolate candies instead. You mean pulverize them into a powder and mix it in? You might be onto something. Now for the meringue top. We're gonna make something like 7-minute frosting. Place your mixer bowl over an inch of water and don't let the water touch the bottom though. Add in 1.5 cups of sugar and 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. Whisk it all together, and just like any old meringue, it starts out looking like snot, but then it loosens up as it heats up. You heat it to 160 degrees to pasteurize those eggs. Place it on your mixer and whisk to stiff peaks.
Not yet. It's still a little wimpy.
That's too lumpy. Yep, I see a mountain peak in the bowl. Now here's a little tip. Leave your bowl on the mixer while you scoop the meringue into your piping bag. It keeps the bowl in place so you're free to concentrate on getting it into the bag and not everywhere else. We use a large open star tip. Oh, doesn't that just look so satisfying? Squeeze, stop, pull up. Squeeze, stop, pull up. Squeeze, stop, pull up. And then toast it for dramatic flavor. Prepare yourselves for the most scrumptious pie, me hearties. Ah, the taste of victory and silliness. This pie is a treasure worth every chuckle. Leave a comment. It makes our day. It really does. You should see Frida get all tickled about it. Croissants are everywhere in London. While we were there, we took a class at the bakery Bread Ahead, and we're going to show you what we learned. Whew, I'm tired now. Making croissants is actually a 3-day process, but we don't have that attention span. And we made them in 4 hours in class. I'm not even sure how we did that. Oh yeah, our teacher made the dough ahead of time, which is what Big Val did last night. We'll show you that in a few minutes. Pound your butter, and when it gets close to a 1/4 inch thick, fold your parchment into a square and roll it into the corners, then pop that baby back into the fridge.
It's a little thin and a little big, but we're going to make it work.
And you know what else? We didn't do it perfectly through this whole thing. And they turned out awesome. You know it. I'm off to the Flying 4 Zeppelin to get the special flour. You keep an eye on that steam gauge. Roll out your dough to a 10-inch square and pull on the corners like they're ears. And pull the top over and the bottom up, then the sides, and pinch your envelope closed.
You're cute as a pinch too.
Oh, shucks. Here's a technique we learned in class. Use your rolling pin to smash and move your dough in butter, starting from the center and rolling to the edge. You turn your dough over a lot and use your rolling pin to get flat edges. Roll it to around 27 inches long and 10 inches wide. fold it in thirds like those old-fashioned snail mail letters. You remember those paper things before email, right? Wrap it back up in the parchment paper and chill for an hour.
All right, and while we're waiting for an hour...
An hour is like a really long time in Looney Land.
I know.
Hey, Willifreda, how you coming along with that special flower? I almost got it, just a little more. Wow, this place is cool. Big Val, what are you doing here? Willifreda, you don't need this big contraption to make croissants. But what about the special flour? That's bread flour, and you can pick it up in the grocery store. Oh, well, let's get back to it then. 500 grams of bread flour that you can buy in the grocery store, 50 grams of sugar, and 12 grams of fine sea salt. Add half a cup of water and half a cup of whole fat milk. It's kind of spooky looking. Doesn't look like anything those dry yeast packages we get in the grocery store.
I know, it's not like regular yeast.
Active yeast? It kind of feels like mushrooms.
What kind of mushrooms have you been eating? You can get it at any local bakery.
Now mix your dry ingredients all around the bowl and add in 40 grams of soft butter, unsalted. Press this with your fingers until you get something like Parmesan cheese. Why don't they use machines like KitchenAids over here in London? Like, we could do this in a food processor. I don't know. Make a well in the middle and pour in your wet ingredients. I'd be great at this part. Then grease your bowl and dough and cover with cling wrap and put it in the fridge for 8 to 12 hours.
Wakey, wakey.
Then roll it out to 27 inches by 10 inches again. We could never get it that big, so we just did the best we could. And fold it in thirds again. This is where we cheated like we did in class. Instead of letting it take another nappy poo overnight, we just let it rest for an hour in the fridge. Roll it out and fold it in thirds again. We're getting lots of dough layers and butter layers. Man, these are going to turn out fabulous. The thinner the better. You can pull it, just don't tear it. Now this is the final rollout. Then, with a pizza cutter, we got 12 triangles. The bottom is 4 fingers across. Gently pull it longer, like your earlobe, and cut a slit in the bottom to twirl it on and roll it up. And place it on your baking sheet with the little tail tucked on the bottom. This'll help it keep from unwinding while it proofs. That's the next step. Cover it with plastic wrap and place it in a warm room of your house. Ideally, you want it to be 75 degrees. So we cranked up the Google Nest. We don't pay the bills here anyway. Oh man, we almost forgot the egg wash. We always forget things around here. Oh yeah. Whisk an egg and brush it on. You want to brush just the flat part and not the sides if you can. Look, you can see they're already started growing. Now cover them up for 2 hours and let them grow. They'll grow twice in size and jiggle. And bake for 12 to 15 minutes. In hindsight, we should have lowered our rack 1 slot because the tops baked before the bottoms. We'll know that for next time. We ended up popping these in later on the lower rack position for 6 minutes just to brown them better, and it worked. These be the flakiest croissants I've ever seen. You really know how to mix magic with mischief, Willa. 'Tis the joy of cooking with a dash of flary fare and a sprinkle of silliness, Captain. Now, let's enjoy the spoils of our croissant capers. Hey, let's go find another British recipe. I still have that key to London. Dive into the ocean for a tale that's fishier than you might expect. Woohoo! Come on, Finn, you clownfish. And then, Frida, I swam with a great seahorse that had polka dots and rainbow stripes. Polka dots and rainbow stripes? That's quite the fishy tale, Marina. We all know it's either polka dots or stripes, never both at the same time. Well, you know, underwater tales can be a bit... Oh no! Marina, your tail! Ta-da! Surprise! Fin removal day! It's a new trend among mermaids. Tailless Tuesdays, and Marina, your tail fell off because you told a tall tale. Okay, you got me. No giant seahorse or polka dots or rainbow stripes. Just my imagination running wild. Well, at least you have a fun story to tell now. The one where your tail swam away from your tails. And let me show you these eggs I found in the shipwreck. We can make some great frosting with them.
Caramel flavor. And we'll need these in a little bit. First, we're going to whip up some caramel.
And I'm going to show you what to do if it separates or breaks, like it's prone to do so often. So stick around for both ways to fix it. Sauce. Oh, so gooey. I love caramel. It needs to cool down enough to put in the frosting later. So you take 1 cup of sugar, 4 tablespoons of light corn syrup, 1/4 cup of water, and heat that to 345 degrees. Use an extra large heavy pan because, well, you'll see in a few moments why. Now, to help prevent your sugar from crystallizing, I brush water around the sides of the pan. And when it gets to 320 degrees, the sugar will start to caramelize and turn a golden brown. Look, it's happening! This is my touchless thermometer. It comes in quite handy. Now, drizzle in a 1/2 cup of heavy cream and whisk constantly. See how it bubbles up? This is why you need the extra large pan. Take it off the heat and add in 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, and lastly, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Vanilla doesn't like to be heated too much. I've seen angry vanilla too. Set this aside to cool in the fridge. Metal doesn't conduct heat as much as glass. And just give it a stir every once in a while to help it cool down all at the same time. And fill your pan with a little dish soap and set it on your warm oven. It'll come right clean by the time you're ready to clean up.
And now we use Marina's egg whites.
Now we're going to whip up a fluffy meringue, and that starts with 8 egg whites. We here in Val's Looney Kitchen always separate them outside the bowl in case a yolk bursts or something. That way you don't ruin the whole batch. Right, Frida, you also have to make sure everything is super duper clean. We actually washed the mixer bowl twice after making these chocolate cupcakes on the counter. Back here. That's what we're putting this frosting on. You can get the recipe here. It'll make 3 dozen cupcakes. Fill each cup 3/4 of the way full and bake for 15 to 18 minutes. This batch of frosting will make enough for huge bakery swirls on each one, or enough to frost a 3-layer decadent cake like you find here.
And save your eggshells. They're great for the garden. Adds a little extra vitamin D in the soil.
Add 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar and whisk on medium to low speed until they're foamy all the way through. The lower speed makes smaller bubbles, and those are more stable for a nicer meringue. And while that's starting to whisk, we'll get the sugar syrup going. To your sugar, add 1/2 cup of light corn syrup and 2/3 cup of water, and heat that to 240, 248 degrees. I don't know how I got along without my touchless thermometer. The key here is that you want the sugar syrup to be ready at the same time the egg whites are foamy. Hey, Maria, how's the foam coming along? Oh, that's just perfect. See how it's pretty much all foam? This is gonna make a beautiful meringue. Hey, Frida, is it hot enough yet? Yep, here we go. Flip that mixer on high gear and drizzle it into the groove. The groove where the whisk is making in the egg whites between the edge of the pan and the whisk. You have reached pro level if your sugar stream doesn't hit the whisk, and fling it around the bowl. Woohoo! Look at that grow. This is really cool.
And that stiff peaks, but it's gonna melt our butter. So I always put it in a bowl of ice water. Cool it down.
So we're taking the polar plunge for 20 minutes. Give it a stir around every once in a while.
All right, and then we're gonna whisk around and make sure everything is thoroughly cooled.
Now add in your butter a chunk at a time. A chunk's about 2 tablespoons. Throw it in, let it thoroughly mix in before putting in the next. It might look a little soupy at first, but it'll all come together. It deflates a lot during this process. And what happens quite often is that one or the other was just a little too cold and it clumps up like this. Don't worry. In this case, my butter was just a little too cold and I added it in a little too fast to allow the mixture to cool with it. I saw this happening early on and I tried to heat it a little with my kitchen torch. I thought I got it, but I didn't. There are 2 ways to fix it. Keep torching the bowl, which will heat it up gently and very gradually, but I think this is a little too far gone for that. Scoop up a few ounces, melt it in the microwave. I just melted it, don't make it super hot. I switch to the paddle attachment and then pour it in. This brings the rest of the batch up to temperature. There, look, you can see it. This is so cool how that magic happens. Switch back to the whisk attachment and fluff it right up. Now we're adding in the caramel. I like it super flavorful, so I'm adding in the whole thing. It doesn't turn out super sweet either, just full of flavor. And make sure both are at the same temperature too. Don't want to melt anything. Add in a third, whisk it in. Then the next third until you've got all that scrumptiousness in there. And pipe it right on. Teamwork makes the dream work. Marina, you bet, Frida. Let's sprinkle some more caramel love on top of that extra magic touch. Ta-da! Our enchanted caramel Italian meringue buttercream on our moist chocolate cupcakes are ready to dazzle the taste buds and spread joy. Delightful desserts made with love and laughter, even without a tail.
And there you go. Fluffy Italian meringue buttercream, caramel flavored. It's like caramel clouds on top of my cupcakes. Leave a comment. You make my day when you leave a comment, and I reply to them all.
Our caramel cake has caramel flavoring baked right in with the batter, and it's covered in our old-fashioned caramel frosting, sweetness with a tang.
Uh-oh, we almost forgot the sign.
Okay. So, Captain, what do you say? Ready for some more underwater shenanigans? Aye, Marina, with you by my side, I'm ready for anything, even if it involves a grocery store under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade. Leave a comment. It makes our day. Yep, it will.
Run! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Woo! All right, Frida. We're on a quest for the legendary magical blueberry tree. According to the map, it should be around here somewhere. Woohoo! Blueberry time! But you know what they say, Captain. Danger lurks where treasure lies. Was that a rumble or my stomach? Oh no! Is that what I think it is? You've got to be kidding me. Captain, let's get out of here. But don't you worry, I've got a trick up my glove. That was close. That was too close for comfort. Wait a second. The map mentioned a hidden passage to the blueberry tree. We've got to find that passage. Captain, I think we're on to something. We did it, Frida. We found the tree. I knew we could do it, Captain. We'll need 1 pint to make this light and fluffy blueberry pie for the crew. Thank you, Captain Breadhook. 1 pint of magic blueberries is exactly what we need. So preheat your oven to 375 and let the magic begin. We're going to start with the crust, and you take 14 graham crackers, half a cup of brown sugar, and pack it in that cup. Half a cup of pecans or your favorite nuts. Pulverize them in your food processor. Then, while it's running on low speed, drizzle in 6 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter and pour it into your pan. You can use one with a removable bottom like this tart pan, or you can use a pie dish. My trick to getting an even crust is to slowly spread it around with my measuring cup. I mean, very slowly and gradually spread it to the edge and work it up the sides. You don't have to press very hard, or your crust will be hard to bite into later. And then bake for 10 minutes. Your kitchen will smell delightful, and it'll turn a golden brown around the edges. Now for the white chocolate on the bottom, we're going to make a ganache. And you take 6 ounces of white chocolate. This is going to add a little special flair. Zap it for 30 seconds in the microwave, twice. Then add 1 ounce or 2 tablespoons of heated cream. Stir until they come together. If it starts to look a little greasy, that means you heated it too much. It really won't matter with this recipe. See here? Here's a pic of a piece of pie we're making right now. I have magic future vision. Pour it into the bottom of your crust for a wonderful surprise with each bite. Now for the blueberry fluff filling, so fun. This filling be full of magic berries. Heat it to the boiling, the berries, half a cup of water, 1 package of unflavored gelatin, and 4 tablespoons of sugar. Pour it into a heat-proof bowl. Metal doesn't conduct heat as much as glass. And I put it in a bowl of ice water for 20 minutes to help it cool down to room temperature, about 70, 72 degrees. Just give it a stir every so often so it doesn't gel up on you. If it does start to gel up, just whisk it around, stir it, and if that doesn't work, heat it up a little bit and stir it around. Now, we're going to whip up a meringue, Swiss style. Take 3 eggs and separate them outside the bowl. You can't have any yolk. And I find that when they're fresh out of the refrigerator, they're easier to separate. And using my hand is the easiest. Add half a cup of sugar and heat it to 160 degrees. This will pasteurize the egg whites, and we're not taking any chances here. Whisk it constantly, and don't let it touch the bottom. You're gently heating the egg whites. This is where my touchless thermometer comes in handy. I'm also using my metal mixing bowl because it won't retain the heat as much as my glass bowl. And whisk it to stiff peaks. That's stiff peaks. And now we put it all together. I love meringue. Now take half a cup of heavy cream and 2 tablespoons of sugar and whisk those to stiff peaks. By now, your meringue should be at room temperature, the same temperature as the blueberries. Fold them right on in there. It's like they're having a little party and mingling around. Don't worry about it getting folded all the way in. Be careful not to deflate the meringue. You know, all the air we whisked into it, we want it to stay there. We fold in the whipped cream and everything gets mixed together. Down and up, down and up. Pour it into your crust and let it chill out in the fridge overnight. Big Me made this one last night, so we could show you the decorating part right now. I love decorating. Whisk up some more whipped cream, and I'm piping it around the edge. You can dollop it too. There's never a right way or a wrong way to decorate. Garnish with some blueberries and place as many as you see fit. You know, I really have a fun time with you, Cat and Bread Hook. Hi, Frida, and remember, no treasure, be it gold or blueberries, is as precious as the memories we make along the way. I'll never forget.
There we go.
T-Rex, Godzilla, the magical blueberry tree. 'Twas a quest filled with laughter, challenges, and blueberry triumphs, Captain. And there you go. It's beautiful. Leave a comment. I love to read your comments, and I reply to them all.
Frida, my flavor fairy friend, I'm so glad you're here. I'm not sure I can get all the ingredients for these 3 awesome candies and the celebrations tomorrow. They'll make great gifts and bring cheer to everyone, too. We can do it on the Candy Quest ship. We will hop. We're searching for ingredients. Oh, what a pop. Our bonbons play. Maple pralines and lollipops all day. Our first stop, Frida, is to find those scrumptious oranges for our bonbons. Ahoy there, you orangey wonders. We're on a quest for oranges to make bonbons. Can you help us? Aye, aye, but first you must answer this citrus riddle. What's round, juicy, and the star of a bonbon's middle? That's easy. It's an orange. Pick me. No, pick me. I'm zestier. Pick me. Me. Oh, look, a touchless thermometer. Let me grab that too. We'll need it for all of these. Take the zest of 2 happy oranges, tennis ball size, and beware of the white part because that's bitter. Knock, knock. Who's there? Orange. Orange who? Aren't you glad we don't have another joke? Set that aside and into your favorite saucepan, pour 2 cups of sugar, 2/3 cup of orange juice, freshly squeezed, and 1/2 cup of evaporated milk, and 1/2 cup of unsalted butter. Hey, that butter is straight out of the refrigerator. What about that room temperature stuff?
Room temperature doesn't matter here. We're just going to heat everything to 236, 240 degrees.
Medium heat so it doesn't scorch on the bottom. It takes a bit longer though, and we'll get there soon enough. As it heats up, it gets thicker and you can feel it when you stir it. Look how it sticks to the spoon there. There, it's ready. Take it off the heat and pour it into a metal bowl. Metal doesn't conduct heat like glass, and stir it to cool it down. It'll form a skin if you don't, and we don't want any lumps in our bonbons. We also help it along with an ice bath, and we use meltless ice cubes too. These are real cool in a drink because they don't melt in your drink and dilute it. Stir, and stir, stir, stir. There, it's around 100 degrees. Stir in your happy zest and 1/2 cup of nuts. We're using pecans. Then roll them into little balls. We use a tablespoon scoop and divide that in half. That way they're all the same size. It doesn't take long, and just imagine all the friends we're gonna give these to. Good thing we have a lot of friends. We're making a lot. Hey, how many are there?
I counted them. 6 across and 9 deep. 6 times 9 is what? Plus the 2.
Easy cleanup. Fill your pan with soapy water and it'll come right clean by the time you're done making these. That's the last of the pecans too. We need more for the maple pralines next. And then the lollipops. The bonbons need to chill out in the freezer for 30 minutes. Why don't we go get them now and come back to finish them up? Good idea, Frida. This means we're gonna sing again. On the Candy Quest ship, we won't flop. We're ingredients for treats. We will swap with oranges to chop and pecans to pop on our candy-making stovetop. Here are the pecans we need for the maple pralines. Let me ask this time. Of course, but first you must crack the answer to this nutty riddle. Why did all the pecans go to space? They were astronauts. Ha-ha! You've cracked the riddle, my sweet adventurers. Here's your nuts. Get out your favorite saucepan again. 1 cup of maple syrup and 2 cups of powdered sugar. 1/2 cup of evaporated milk and 1 tablespoon of butter. Heat this to 236 to 240 degrees. That's the softball stage in case you were curious. Woo-hoo! Look how bubbly it's getting. Our touchless thermometer sure comes in handy. Take it off the heat and stir in 1.5 cups of chopped nuts. We're using our magic pecans here. And a teaspoon of vanilla. That was a generous teaspoon there. And stir it until it starts to look creamy. It'll cool down real fast. Then, with 2 soup spoons, dollop it onto the parchment paper.
Hey, let's sprinkle some of this over our ice cream tonight while we watch our movie.
Awesome! And some easy cleanup. Our last stop, Frida. We need that magical flavoring for our lollipops. Hey, Jeannie, we're glad to see you. Ahoy there, Captain Breadhook. You're in luck. I can grant you 1 wish. What will it be that you seek? I seek the most magical flavoring in all the realms. Something to make our lollipops the tastiest on the high seas. You're a lucky pirate. Captain, I have just the thing for you. Here, in my magical flavoring cubbyhole, you can choose any flavoring you desire. by Davy Jones' Locker. This be a treasure trove of flavors. What would you recommend, Jeannie? How about some Mermaid's Melody Mint for a refreshing twist? Or perhaps Dragon Fire Chili for a fiery kick? It's all up to you. I'll take them both, and that'll make me lollipops legendary. In your favorite saucepan again, 2 cups of sugar and 2/3 cup of light corn syrup, and 2 ounces of water. If your tap water doesn't taste good, use bottled water. And heat this to 300 degrees. If you let it go over 300, it'll start to caramelize and turn brown. And then you just have burnt sugar. And while you're waiting for it to heat up, put your flavoring and food coloring into a heat-proof measuring cup. You need the pouring spout to get the molten sugar into the molds. These are Anchor measuring cups, and they take the heat. Careful of the cheapo ones. Divide it between the 2. The rule of thumb is 1 teaspoon of flavoring per cup. And just add as much coloring as you see fit. And pour it into your molds. Don't worry about spills and drips. They'll harden and break right off. We use a cookie sheet to make the molds easier to move around the kitchen. Man, can you imagine the flavor combinations? And with the colors too, it's infinite. We left a link in the description for our favorite flavors. You can also get them in the grocery store. Oh, and if your sugar lava cools too much to pour, just zap it in the microwave for 30 seconds at a time. Use cellophane bags and look at the cool colored twisties that came with them. Don't use plastic wrap. We tried and that didn't work. Oh, to finish the bonbons, you just take 10 ounces of chocolate, give that a few 30-minute zaps in the microwave, melt that right on down, and we use toothpicks to dip them in and get off the excess because it's kind of thick. We like a thick shell. This batch took us 10.5 ounces, but it's always hard to get that last bit for the last bonbon, so you end up with stuff left over. Look at them all. These are going to make great gifts for all our friends. On the good ship, Candy Quest, our mission is complete. With oranges, pecans, magic flavor, oh so neat. We'll craft bonbons, pralines, and lollipops so fine. In this candy world of wild wonder where the sun will always shine.
And there you go. They found all the ingredients. These are so good. What am I going to start with? Leave a comment. You always make my day when you leave a comment.
Awesome! Frida, my flavor fairy friend, I'm so glad you're here. I'm not sure I can get all the ingredients for these 3 awesome candies and the celebrations tomorrow. They'll make great gifts and bring cheer to everyone, too. We can do it! On the Candy Quest ship, we will hop. We're searching for ingredients. Oh, what a pop! Our bonbons play. Maple pralines and lollipops all day. Our first stop, Frida, is to find those scrumptious oranges for our bonbons. Ahoy there, you orangey wonders! We're on a quest for oranges to make bonbons. Can you help us? Aye, aye, but first you must answer this citrus riddle. What's round, juicy, and the star of a bonbon's middle? That's easy. It's an orange. Pick me. No, pick me. I'm zestier. Pick me. Me. Oh, look, a touchless thermometer. Let me grab that too. We'll need it for all of these. Take the zest of 2 happy oranges, tennis ball size, and beware of the white part because that's bitter. Knock, knock. Who's there? Orange. Orange who? Aren't you glad we don't have another joke? Set that aside, and into your favorite saucepan, pour 2 cups of sugar, 2/3 cup of orange juice, freshly squeezed, and half a cup of evaporated milk, and half a cup of unsalted butter. Hey, that butter is straight out of the refrigerator. What about that room temperature stuff?
Room temperature doesn't matter here. We're just going to heat everything to 236, 240 degrees.
Medium heat so it doesn't scorch on the bottom. It takes a bit longer though, and we'll get there soon enough. As it heats up, it gets thicker and you can feel it when you stir it. Look how it sticks to the spoon there. There, it's ready. Take it off the heat and pour it into a metal bowl. Metal doesn't conduct heat like glass, and stir it to cool it down. It'll form a skin if you don't, and we don't want any lumps in our bonbons. We also help it along with an ice bath, and we use meltless ice cubes too. These are real cool in a drink because they don't melt in your drink and dilute it. Stir, and stir, stir, stir. There, it's around 100 degrees. Stir in your happy zest and half a cup of nuts. We're using pecans. Then roll them into little balls. We use a tablespoon scoop and divide that in half. That way they're all the same size. It doesn't take long, and just imagine all the friends we're gonna give these to. Good thing we have a lot of friends. We're making a lot. Hey, how many are there?
I counted them. 6 across and 9 deep. 6 times 9 is what? Plus the 2.
Easy cleanup. Fill your pan with soapy water and it'll come right clean by the time you're done making these. That's the last of the pecans too. We need more for the maple pralines next. And then the lollipops. The bonbons need to chill out in the freezer for 30 minutes. Why don't we go get them now and come back to finish them up? Good idea, Frida. This means we're gonna sing again. On the Candy Quest ship, we won't flop. We're ingredients for treats. We will swap with oranges to chop and pecans to pop on our candy-making stovetop. Here are the pecans we need for the maple pralines. Let me ask this time. Of course, but first you must crack the answer to this nutty riddle. Why did all the pecans go to space? They were astronauts. Ha-ha, you've cracked the riddle, my sweet adventurers. Here's your nuts. Get out your favorite saucepan again. 1 cup of maple syrup and 2 cups of powdered sugar. A half a cup of evaporated milk and 1 tablespoon of butter. Heat this to 236 to 240 degrees. That's the softball stage in case you were curious. Woo-hoo! Look how bubbly it's getting. Our touchless thermometer sure comes in handy. Take it off the heat and stir in 1.5 cups of chopped nuts. We're using our magic pecans here. And a teaspoon of vanilla. That was a generous teaspoon there. And stir it until it starts to look creamy. It'll cool down real fast. Then, with 2 soup spoons, dollop it onto the parchment paper.
Hey, let's sprinkle some of this over our ice cream tonight while we watch our movie.
Awesome! And some easy cleanup. Our last stop, Frida. We need that magical flavoring for our lollipops. Hey, Jeannie, we're glad to see you. Ahoy there, Captain Breadhook. You're in luck. I can grant you 1 wish. What will it be that you seek? I seek the most magical flavoring in all the realms. Something to make our lollipops the tastiest on the high seas. You're a lucky pirate. Captain, I have just the thing for you. Here, in my magical flavoring cubbyhole, you can choose any flavoring you desire. By Davy Jones' locker, this be a treasure trove of flavors. What would you recommend, Jeannie? How about some Mermaid's Melody Mint for a refreshing twist? Or perhaps Dragon Fire Chili for a fiery kick? It's all up to you. I'll take them both, and that'll make me lollipops legendary. In your favorite saucepan again, 2 cups of sugar and 2/3 cup of light corn syrup, and 2 ounces of water. If your tap water doesn't taste good, use bottled water. And heat this to 300 degrees. If you let it go over 300, it'll start to caramelize and turn brown. And then you just have burnt sugar. And while you're waiting for it to heat up, put your flavoring and food coloring into a heat-proof measuring cup. You need the pouring spout to get the molten sugar into the molds. These are Anchor measuring cups, and they take the heat. Careful of the cheapo ones. Divide it between the 2. The rule of thumb is 1 teaspoon of flavoring per cup. And just add as much coloring as you see fit and pour it into your molds. Don't worry about spills and drips. They'll harden and break right off. We use a cookie sheet to make the molds easier to move around the kitchen. Man, can you imagine the flavor combinations? And with the colors too, it's infinite. We left a link in the description for our favorite flavors. You can also get them in the grocery store. Oh, and if your sugar lava cools too much to pour, just zap it in the microwave for 30 seconds at a time. Use cellophane bags and look at the cool colored twisties that came with them. Don't use plastic wrap. We tried and that didn't work. Oh, to finish the bonbons, you just take 10 ounces of chocolate, give that a few 30-minute zaps in the microwave, melt that right on down, and we use toothpicks to dip them in and get off the excess because it's kind of thick. We like a thick shell. This batch took us 10.5 ounces, but it's always hard to get that last bit for the last bonbon, so you end up with stuff left over. Look at them all. These are going to make great gifts for all our friends. On the good ship, Candy Quest, our mission is complete. With oranges, pecans, magic flavor, oh so neat. We'll craft bonbons, pralines, and lollipops so fine. In this candy world of wild wonder where the sun will always shine.
And there you go. They found all the ingredients. These are so good. What am I going to start with? Leave a comment. You always make my day when you leave a comment.
Awesome. Our lemon cake with lemon filling and lemon cream cheese frosting has a perfect balance of sweet and sour. Every bite explodes with flavor like rays of sunshine.
What are you guys doing up there?
I shrank a lemon and now I can't remember the spell to make it big again.
Oh.
She shrank us too, but there's some grow big spinach and milk on Popeye the Sailor's Island. I can give you guys a ride on my magic carpet. I already got the mini Uber Duber for this job. We'll pick up a big lemon while we're out. No worries, Mama. Look, here it is.
Well, we have enough to get started on the filling, which we need to do first anyway.
So it has time to cool before putting it on the cake.
Right.
In your favorite saucepan, zest 2 lemons. We're gonna need their juice too, and zesting them first is easier. You'll see in a minute. And add 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. Those 2 lemons have half a cup of juice. Add that too. And whisk in 1 egg and a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. Whisk constantly on medium heat until it gets to a rolling boiling. Then cook it 1 minute longer to make sure any cornstarch taste cooks out and it's pure lemon bliss. This is a cake filling and a little different than lemon curd. Pour it into a metal bowl. Metal doesn't hold on to heat as much as glass. And add in 2 tablespoons of butter. And cover the top with plastic wrap. Make sure it touches the filling so a skin doesn't form. And we use meltless ice cubes to speed it along because we have the attention span of a 5-year-old. And chill in the fridge while we make the rest. Ready, Freddy?
Got it! Just in time. Now take some more lemon zest and grate that into your mixer bowl.
And add in half a cup of softened butter. And we'll need the juice of that lemon. 1 cup of sugar and beat them together until it's light and fluffy. About 5 minutes. We scrape down the bowl just to make sure there's no cold chunks sticking to the bottom. And add in 2 yolks. Mixing your cake this way is called the creaming method, by the way. In a separate bowl, sift together all your dry ingredients. 3 cups of cake flour, 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Give that a mix around to get it all around the bowl. Sifting gets rid of any lumps. Lumps are bad. They can make you overmix your batter. And overmixing makes gluten form and your cake turns out tough and rubbery. Even worse, you get a chunk of flour in a bite. Last one! Now on to your wet ingredients. To 2/3 cup of whole milk, add a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, 1 teaspoon of lemon extract for a little more zing, and a 1/3 cup of oil. The oil adds moisture to your cake. And whisk your egg whites to stiff peaks. You can do this in your mixer bowl at the very beginning and pour them into a separate bowl, but we forgot with all the looniness going on around here. Nope, almost. There's a mountain peak in the bowl. Now we put it all together. Alternate in your wet and your dry, starting with the dry and ending with the dry. This also helps you to not overmix. Then fold in your whites. The whites are full of air and will also help the cake to rise. I'm coming down. Spray each pan with baking spray with flour and line the bottoms with parchment paper. This way is foolproof, and trust you me, we need foolproof around here. Divide your batter evenly. We measure it just to be precise. Woohoo! Look at that! Those purple fabric bands are cake strips. They change the baking process so you get flat tops every time. You don't have to cut off a dome or anything. However, that dome is a mighty tasty chef treat. Let's go to Popeye's Island and get big again.
And that last lemon.
And you guessed right. Grate that right into your mixer bowl. Add 2 bricks of cream cheese that's softened. Not mushy like room temperature, just soften enough to beat in the bowl. And a half a cup of softened butter. Always use unsalted butter in everything. That way you can control the amount of salt that goes in. Beat this all together. Add in a quarter cup of lemon juice. Then add in a whole bag of powdered sugar, 1 cup at a time. That's 32 ounces or 2 pounds. And no need to sift it or anything, because you can just beat it forever. It's not like any gluten's gonna form, because it's just sugar and flavor. Oh no, there's only 1 can of spinach and 1 cup of milk. Look, now there's 2. Yeah, there's 2. Enough for us both. Place your first layer on your cake stand and make sure your cakes are all the way cooled down, or you run the risk of melting your frosting. Spread a thin layer on the top and pipe a dam around the edge. This is going to hold in your filling. And the easiest way we found to get the frosting even is to Hey, you made it to Popeye's Island, I see. We did. And I think I like spinach. It helps you grow up strong. I know I like milk. It helps you grow healthy bones. You got your lemons in time and created a masterpiece of a cake. And we got big again. Big Val there forgot to turn her mic on. Leave a comment. It'll make our day. Our delightful lemon cheesecake with blueberry compote has the sour lemon balanced with the sweetness from our vanilla cookie crust. And we're going to show you this little bit of magic we put in it. Hey, where's Jessie Cheesecake? I was getting a midnight cream cheese snack.
Let me help you there, Jessie.
There you are.
Welcome to my Looney kitchen.
And we have a great way to bring them to room temperature.
Right, and this way is actually safer than leaving it on the countertop for hours.
Put your cream cheese and eggs in a warm bowl of water and they'll be ready in like 10 minutes. Careful not to use too hot of water or you'll cook everything. Yep, we did that before. I didn't see the blueberries in the refrigerator last night. Captain Red Hook told me where the magical blueberry tree is. I'm off to get them in my nitro and ship. See you later. I'll get started on the crust. Take 31 vanilla sandwich cookies and pulverize them. Half a cup of pecans, add that traditional nuttiness to it. As if we weren't enough. And let 5 tablespoons of melted butter soak all into it. Spread it all around your springform pan and the sides and turn on some disco. And dance. Back to the right, stop to the left. Go up, go back. Or you can use a measuring cup if your Looney is taking a break. I need a break. There really is no right way or wrong way to shape your crust. You can have it short on the sides or even all around. And then bake for 8 to 10 minutes or until it starts to turn a nice golden brown.
Ah! Left, right, which way you go, make up your mind.
Ooh, stinky breath. Add your 4 bricks of cream cheese and beat them all together, nice and smooth. You never know if you have a cold spot somewhere. And add in your sour cream.
You scrape down the bowl to get everything homogeneous.
We want what?
I know, it's a big word.
Add 1.5 cups of sugar.
Pretty good, huh?
Pretty good there. And the zest of 3 lemons, which will come out to about 2 tablespoons packed. And careful not to go all the way down to the white part, because that's bitter.
We can have some lemonade later.
That'll be so good after we get done here, and it'll be fresh squeezed. Add in 1/4 cup of lemon juice.
We got it. Nitro injection, don't fail me now.
Uh-oh. And now beat in 4 eggs and 1 egg yolk, one at a time. Crack it in, beat it in. Crack it in, beat it in. Thoroughly mix it all around. Now for some extra zing. You can add in a teaspoon of lemon extract, or we're using lemonade mix.
Should we do a teaspoon or a tablespoon? Yeah,
Tablespoon! How cool is that? Now, before you pour it into your crust, usually you put heavy-duty aluminum foil over it. But we found this on Amazon. Totally foolproof for leaks. Captain Brett Hook calls it a pan condom. I like to call it a pan booty.
I like pan booty.
And bake for 80 minutes and turn off the oven and crack the door for an hour to let it cool gently. It'll have a slight jiggle in the middle, like this, and you can touch it. Then refrigerate overnight or at least 6 hours. This is it, I found it, Jessie. We need 2 cups. I'll just make it a pint. You bet. Look at all these juicy berries. I'll fetch them now. The blueberry compote is real easy. It just has a fancy name. In your favorite saucepan, put in 1/4 cup of sugar and 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Mix those around and add in 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Thoroughly mix these together. Add in 2 cups of blueberries. Oh, let's put in the whole pint. Mush them down some. This is our avocado musher. And slowly heat them up on medium heat. It'll turn purple and make its own syrup. Cook it for 1 minute longer. This makes sure that cornstarch taste gets cooked all the way out. And that's it. Now we get to put it all together. Whisk up 1/2 cup of heavy cream and 2 tablespoons of sugar and pipe that around the edge. Pour in your blueberry compote. You know, that's such a fancy name for such a simple thing.
All right, guys, let's see how it tastes. Oh my gosh, this is really good.
Yeah, we created a masterpiece for the best of the flavor fairies. Leave a comment. A sweet and sour dandy indeed. Willifrida, can I have a ride in your nitro-injected airship sometime?
Sweet
Can I have
and
a
sour
ride in
dandy
your
indeed.
nitro-injected airship?
Loonies, I can't believe we ran out of flour.
I know of a magic recipe for a flourless cake.
Well, let's have some fun.
No, really, it doesn't have any flour at all in it, and it doesn't even have baking powder or baking soda. It's magic.
Welcome to my Looney kitchen.
And it's a chocolate cake. I know just where there's some of the tastiest semi-sweet chocolate. I'm off. Let's go ahead and get started making the meringue.
What about the oven?
Oh yeah. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees and place a roasting pan of hot water in the bottom. Spray your pan with baking spray with flour. Now take 6 egg whites and whisk these until they're nice and foamy all the way through to the bottom. We separate them outside the bowl because if you get a speck of yolk in it, it won't whip up and you'll just get egg white soup. Ugh. Hey, what's this? Hey now, this looks like the way in. Now, add in a cup of sugar very slowly. This gives the sugar time to dissolve, and you want to whisk it to soft paste. There's soft curves in the bowl. This will make it easier to fold into the chocolate mixture later. Hey, Captain Breadhook, how you coming along? Hey, found it! Now how do I get big again? Yee-haw! What's this? I got the chocolate! You got the good tasting chocolate, I hope. None of that cheap stuff now. You bet! Chocolate is the star of the show. We should have done this as the first step because it needs time to cool down. Did somebody pee in your Wheaties? Break it up into little pieces. We melt it by putting it over a pot of hot water. In America, this is called a double boiler. In Europe, it's called a bain-marie. It's a gentle way of melting chocolate. We don't recommend nuking it in the microwave to melt it. Stir in 3/4 cup of almond flour and a teaspoon of espresso powder. And 1-2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and 1/2 cup of heavy cream. You won't taste the espresso. It'll just enhance the chocolate flavor. It's magic. It's cool enough to add in the yolks. If it's too hot, we'll cook them. I forgot how long to bake it. I have to go look it up in the flavor bowl. Wheaties. I'll go look it up real quick. That always tickles. Oh, okay, I got it. Wonder what this does. Now fold in the meringue. You sacrifice about 1/4 of it to loosen it up a little bit, and then you fold in the rest. This is a little chunky. I don't think it's supposed to be this chunky. We'll keep folding it. Hopefully this works. Place your cake pan in the water pan and make sure the water comes halfway up the side. This bakes your cake gently at 212 degrees. Air is what rises this cake, and the gentle bath prevents it from rising too fast and creating a dome and cracking. Bake for 1 hour, then turn off the oven and let it stand for 15 minutes with the door closed. Look at that pink contraption on the bottom of our pan. We should call it a pan condom. How about a pan booty? We use it instead of tinfoil to keep the water out. It's foolproof.
This didn't turn out. I think we deflated all the air trying to get out the lumps.
Yeah. We did it again the right way, except we only had semi-sweet chocolate chips left. Heat the cream with the chips to melt them, and then add in everything else when it's cooled properly. Whisk your meringue to soft peaks. See how soft it is? Fold it in thirds. Scoop from the bottom and fold it onto the top. We gotta keep that air in there. And bake it the same way. It even looks better. This is what our skewer looked like when we poked it in. When it's all cooled down and right before serving, cut out a snowflake using parchment paper. This is the fun part because your snowflake will be unique to you. Yup! Fold a piece of parchment paper in half and in half and in half. Diamonds, hearts, squares. Flatten it out and sift powdered sugar on top. Oh, doesn't that just look so cute? It sure does. Our flourless masterpiece, Captain, ready to be devoured. To the high seas of baking, may our cakes be sweet and our adventures sweeter. Leave a comment. Frida gets all tickled up about them. I do. Frida, my flavor fairy friend, I'm so glad you're here. I'm not sure I can get all the ingredients for these 3 awesome candies and the celebrations tomorrow. They'll make great gifts and bring cheer to everyone too. We can do it. On the Candy Quest ship, we will hop. We're searching for ingredients. Oh, what a pop! Our bonbons play. Maple pralines and lollipops all day. Our first stop, Frida, is to find those scrumptious oranges for our bonbons. Ahoy there, you orangey wonders! We're on a quest for oranges to make bonbons. Can you help us? Aye, aye, but first you must answer this citrus riddle. What's round, juicy, and the star of a bonbon's middle? That's easy. It's an orange. Pick me. No, pick me. I'm zestier. Pick me. Me. Oh, look, a touchless thermometer. Let me grab that too. We'll need it for all of these. Take the zest of 2 happy oranges, tennis ball size, and beware of the white part because that's bitter. Knock, knock. Who's there? Orange. Orange who? Aren't you glad we don't have another joke? Set that aside and into your favorite saucepan, pour 2 cups of sugar, 2/3 cup of orange juice, freshly squeezed, and half a cup of evaporated milk, and half a cup of unsalted butter. Hey, that butter is straight out of the refrigerator. What about that room temperature stuff?
Room temperature doesn't matter here. We're just going to heat everything to 236, 240 degrees.
Medium heat so it doesn't scorch on the bottom. It takes a bit longer though, and we'll get there soon enough. As it heats up, it gets thicker and you can feel it when you stir it. Look how it sticks to the spoon there. There, it's ready. Take it off the heat and pour it into a metal bowl. Metal doesn't conduct heat like glass, and stir it to cool it down. It'll form a skin if you don't, and we don't want any lumps in our bonbons. We also help it along with an ice bath, and we use meltless ice cubes too. These are real cool in a drink because they don't melt in your drink and dilute it. Stir, and stir, 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 stir. There, it's around 100 degrees. Stir in your happy zest and half a cup of nuts. We're using pecans. Then roll them into little balls. We use a tablespoon scoop and divide that in half. That way they're all the same size. It doesn't take long, and just imagine all the friends we're gonna give these to. Good thing we have a lot of friends. We're making a lot. Hey, how many are there?
I counted them. 6 across and 9 deep. 6 times 9 is what? Plus the 2.
Easy cleanup. Fill your pan with soapy water and it'll come right clean by the time you're done making these. That's the last of the pecans too. We need more for the maple pralines next, and then the lollipops. The bonbons need to chill out in the freezer for 30 minutes. Why don't we go get them now and come back to finish them up? Good idea, Frida. This means we're gonna sing again. On the Candy Quest ship, we won't flop. We're ingredients for treats. We will swap with oranges to chop and pecans to pop on our candy-making stovetop. Here are the pecans we need for the maple pralines. Let me ask this time. Of course, but first you must crack the answer to this nutty riddle. Why did all the pecans go to space? They were astronauts? Ha-ha! You've cracked the riddle, my sweet adventurers. Here's your nuts. Get out your favorite saucepan again. 1 cup of maple syrup and 2 cups of powdered sugar, a half a cup of evaporated milk, and 1 tablespoon of butter. Heat this to 236 to 240 degrees. That's the softball stage, in case you were curious. Woo-hoo! Look how bubbly it's getting. Our touchless thermometer sure comes in handy. Take it off the heat and stir in 1.5 cups of chopped nuts. We're using our magic pecans here. And a teaspoon of vanilla. That was a generous teaspoon there. And stir it until it starts to look creamy. It'll cool down real fast. Then, with 2 soup spoons, dollop it onto the parchment paper.
Hey, let's sprinkle some of this over our ice cream tonight while we watch our movie.
Awesome! And some easy cleanup. Our last stop, Frida. We need that magical flavoring for our lollipops. Hey, Jeannie, we're glad to see you. Ahoy there, Captain Breadhook. You're in luck. I can grant you 1 wish. What will it be that you seek? I seek the most magical flavoring in all the realms. Something to make our lollipops the tastiest on the high seas. You're a lucky pirate. Captain, I have just the thing for you. Here, in my magical flavoring cubbyhole, you can choose any flavoring you desire. By Davy Jones' Locker, this be a treasure trove of flavors. What would you recommend, Jeannie? How about some Mermaid's Melody Mint for a refreshing twist? Or perhaps Dragon Fire Chili for a fiery kick? It's all up to you. I'll take them both, and that'll make me lollipops legendary. In your favorite saucepan again, 2 cups of sugar and 2/3 cup of light corn syrup, and 2 ounces of water. If your tap water doesn't taste good, use bottled water. And heat this to 300 degrees. If you let it go over 300, it'll start to caramelize and turn brown. And then you just have burnt sugar. And while you're waiting for it to heat up, put your flavoring and food coloring into a heat-proof measuring cup. You need the pouring spout to get the molten sugar into the molds. These are Anchor measuring cups, and they take the heat. Careful of the cheapo ones. Divide it between the 2. The rule of thumb is 1 teaspoon of flavoring per cup. And just add as much coloring as you see fit and pour it into your molds. Don't worry about spills and drips. They'll harden and break right off. We use a cookie sheet to make the molds easier to move around the kitchen. Man, can you imagine the flavor combinations? And with the colors too, it's infinite. We left a link in the description for our favorite flavors. You can also get them in the grocery store. Oh, and if your sugar lava cools too much to pour, just zap it in the microwave for 30 seconds at a time. Use cellophane bags and look at the cool colored twisties that came with them. Don't use plastic wrap. We tried and that didn't work. Oh, to finish the bonbons, you just take 10 ounces of chocolate, give that a few 30-minute zaps in the microwave, melt that right on down, and we use toothpicks to dip them in and get off the excess because it's kind of thick. We like a thick shell. This batch took us 10.5 ounces, but it's always hard to get that last bit for the last bonbon, so you end up with stuff left over. Look at them all. These are going to make great gifts for all our friends. On the good ship, Candy Quest, our mission is complete. With oranges, pecans, magic flavor, oh so neat. We'll craft bonbons, pralines, and lollipops so fine. In this candy world of wild wonder where the sun will always shine.
And there you go. They found all the ingredients. These are so good. What am I going to start with? Leave a comment. You always make my day when you leave a comment.
Awesome! Alrighty, Jeannie, let's make the most fantastical snack bars the world has ever tasted. Absolutely, but hold on to your hats, or in my case, my polka dotted pants.
Can I have my pajama pants back now?
Sure, but let me find a replacement pair first. This is a PJ-13 rated channel. No worries, you go on a magical adventure to find new pants, and I'll start the first extravaganza.
Welcome to my Looney kitchen.
Cream together 3/4 cup of butter that's at room temperature. We beat it around some just to fluff it up. 1/2 cup of sugar and 1/2 cup of brown sugar. You can use light or dark. This recipe is not that picky. Okay, I don't think I'll find the magical ones here. Oops, we forgot to prepare the pan. I always do that. Take a piece of parchment paper and line the bottom of a 9 by 13 inch pan. We snip the edges and let them hang over the sides. It's like a sling and makes it easier to get out of the pan to cut. If you cut it while it's in the pan, you can scratch your pan and dull your knife. Well, now this looks more like my style. Woo-wee! Look at all this color. And preheat your oven to,
350 degrees.
350. You don't say. How about that? Beat in 1/2 cup of dark corn syrup and 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. We spray the measuring cup first, and that gets out all the syrup as you pour it. No fuss. And 4 cups of quick oats. Stir that all in there and pour it into your pan. If you wet your fingers first, it doesn't stick to them when you press it in all even. It'll level out in the oven. We're just giving it a starting chance. And bake for 18 to 22 minutes, and the edges will turn a golden brown. Welcome to the Magical Trouser Emporium. How may I assist you? I need a pair of pants that screams adventure ready, but also snack making chic. Peruse our beautiful colors. These enchanted trousers will do the trick. They're perfect for both adventures and culinary shenanigans. Hey Jeannie, we need a can of sweetened condensed milk. Can you fetch one for us? Aye aye, condensed milk, here I come. Woohoo! Got it! While the crust cools, we're going to add a layer of delicious ooey gooey caramel. You take 1 can of sweetened condensed milk and 1/2 cup of butter. You savvy folks might recognize this part from Millionaire Shortbread Cookies. 1 cup of light brown sugar and pack that cup. 1/4 cup of light corn syrup. A medium heat, bring this up to 225 degrees. That's when the magic happens. Keep the liquid moving. We change to a whisk to keep it stirring better. You don't want to give it a chance to singe on the bottom. Now pour it over the cool crust and spread it out. For the final layer, you want this all the way cooled down. You put it in the refrigerator and have a snow globe hot cocoa bomb while you wait. Okay, now take 8 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips and 2/3 cup of chunky peanut butter and melt them together. We're melting them over a pot of hot water to be gentle with the chocolate. This only takes like 5 minutes. Then pour it over your cold caramel filling and use an offset spatula to spread it around even. Now, let everything set up for a couple of hours before cutting them into 2-inch bars.
Hey, I really like those pants.
It's my favorite color.
Purple's my favorite color too.
You can have our honey raisin bar for breakfast. This goes together real fast. Cream together a 1/4 cup of butter and 1/2 cup of sugar and 2 ounces of honey. Honey's good for you. A 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. In a separate bowl, sift together 1½ cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Then stir in 1½ cups of crushed bran flakes or corn flakes. Alternate in your wet and dry in thirds. 1/3 dry and 1/2 the milk. Stir in 1 cup of raisins. Oh shit, we forgot the egg. Oops. Well, we have to put it in.
Yeah.
Yep, might as well add it in now, but it should have been added in at the beginning. Pour this into a well-greased jelly roll pan and bake for 15 to 20 minutes. We like it crispy around the edges. Let it cool down and flip it out. Cut it into snack bars. A sprinkle of powdered stardust and a pinch of laughter. That'll show that it's homemade. These look absolutely magical, and my new pants feel adventure ready. Now who's ready for a taste of our enchanted snack bars? I'm ready to disco down. Leave a comment if you like Jeannie's new pants.